Good evening, students. I hope you all can hear me. I'll be your lecturer for today. I'm your law lecturer. Um, now, I believe that all of you all have received this document to your hands, right? I believe it was sent in the group also by the JMC vLearning team. Um, so I believe you all have received this. If not, you can download it from whatever the group you are in. So it's already sent and it's already in your hands. Okay. When I'm discussing this today's session, it will be perfect if you have this in your hand. The reason is then because our whole discussion will be based on the study guide. I will guide you on. I will not take a lot of your time, but I will most probably discuss the focus areas. Okay. Um, and in the meantime, if you do have any questions, anyone, okay, you can always disturb me, no issue. Because we need to make sure that you know all of you all are getting the attention that you all want. Okay, so let's make sure that you all are getting this revision done well. As a result, I want all of you all to participate as much as possible as well. Uh, by that time, I think I video the small issue. Okay, anyway, let's continue. Will you? Right. Now, when you're talking about the study guide, okay, now this is based on the past papers mainly. I have created this based on previous analysis of past papers and as well as the most potential questions that might arise. So because of that, uh, I will be guiding you all on what areas to focus, what you should write, and what how you should write. Uh, Apart from that, I'll be telling you all what you need to focus on as well. Okay, some important case laws, what you should focus, and maybe what you can ignore. Right. So these things will help you to kind of study the important things and also realize what areas you can skip study. So if you have any questions while we are going on, you can always disturb me. That is fine. Okay. Uh, I hope you all can. Right. Okay. Right. If you have any questions, ask me. Drop a message or send a message to the group, whatever it is convenient for you. Right. Now, when you're going to study guide, when you're going through this, you have to understand there are some small corrections which I will tell you what needs to be done, right? But apart from that, let's go to focus areas. Okay. Now, these are your chapters. Right? These are all the chapters that you're going to get. From out of these chapters, you will be getting a few specified questions, right? Uh, Now these, I'll just give you a small hint. You will definitely get a question from contract law, and you're going to get a question from this definitely. And you need to study that, and you need to go through all of those, you know, uh, all the ones of that. Okay, so chapter one, sorry, chapter two, contract law is a definite question. Okay, chapter three, sale of goods ordinance, you will get a question. Right. Chapter 4, law of agency. You are going to get a question, right? Now, if I were you, and if you were to, let's say, if you were to ask me what to study or where to study first, don't study chapter 1. Okay, don't study chapter 1. The reason because you will not be getting a higher mark question from that area. You won't be getting a 10 mark or a 5 mark question, or you won't get a big question area from the introduction part. You will be tested on the introduction part based on the MCQs, right? So don't waste your time studying a lot of chapter 1 because it's about the history of the legal system, the court structure. There's a lot to study in chapter 1, but it's not wise because you only have a limited amount of time. I believe your exams are on January. So if that is the case, uh, those who have not studied yet and those who are yet to study, I would advise you all to skip chapter 1, okay, introduction to law, and start with contract law. Contract law is the go-to-go question, the best question to start with. The reason being it's a definite question. So you need to allocate more time to study chapter 2, that is contract law. So it is important that you have additional time to study contract law. So if you want to study now, start now. Best chapter would be contract law because there's going to be a definite question. Then sale of goods ordinance as well, because if you combine these two questions, most of the time you are most likely to get 10 to 15 marks. Okay, either a 10 mark or a 15-mark question, either from contract law or sale of goods ordinance. Okay. So it is best that you focus on these two chapters in the initial stages of your study plan, right? Thereafter, you can move to law of agency. Now, law of agency, of course, I will tell you what to study. In the study guide itself, you can find all the necessary things that you need to study, right? So, but law of agency is a must. You need to study these three chapters are a must, right? Once you have finished studying these chapters, then you can study, okay? Then you have to study definitely insurance. In insurance, hire purchase and leasing, everything is run based on the case laws. Whatever the case laws you need, I have provided in the study guide, right? You can find some other case laws in your marking schemes, in other textbooks. You can find different case laws, but don't worry. I have provided some general case laws that are in use in insurance law. So hopefully you'll find it useful as well. But yes, definitely chapter 8 as well, right? So your order of studying should be contract law, then thereafter sale of goods ordinance, the law of agency, then the insurance chapter. Once you have studied these four chapters, all right, uh, then you can choose either, I would say, labor law, go with labor law, right? And thereafter offenses related to business environment, and then company law, right? So these chapters should be covered by you. You need to put an effort to cover these chapters, not everything. In my study guide, I have told you what to study and what not to study and what to focus as well. Okay. But in general, if you are going to study, if I have to number them, okay, I would say you need to study. So for those who are joining now, okay, you need to study this first, then this can be second, this should be third. Okay. This should be your fourth chapter to study, right? And then thereafter you can, of course, you can deviate thereafter. After you can choose your own way of studying. Okay, but one, two, three, four. You need to follow these chapters as it is. Then I would say maybe this one as a fifth, this as a sixth. Thereafter, the rest is up to you. Negotiable instruments, international trade law, these are small areas. You can I wouldn't say skip them, but you will get small, maybe 5 markers and everything, right? So you can study them at the last, right? You can study them maybe 2 to 3 days before the exam. That would be perfect for study. But initially, chapter one you can study last. Okay, this is very last. Focus only on the past papers, right? Okay, so these are your chapter areas. I hope that's clear. I'll move on to the next paper structure. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you ask me, okay? Right. Now, the paper structure consists of section A, you have one question consisting of 25 marks, that is OTQs or the MCQs. You might get to write true or false questions, like to answer true or false, or short answer questions with small calculations maybe, right? But this part, uh, I would advise you to finish within half an hour. At section A, best if you can finish within half an hour. Because out of the 3 hours of time, you need to spend a lot of time on section C. Section C 1 hour and sorry, yeah, section B more hours. Okay, half an hour on section A, and at least 1.5 hours on section B. Then the last remaining hour on section C. Okay, section C might be either part A, part B, but there will always be a problem question. You will have a application question. You will have to apply as well. Without application, you might not score marks. Okay. Let's see when we are writing how to make this application, right? I'll give you a model answer also, and a way to remember whether we are on the right track. We'll discuss when you are doing the answer writing, right? So this is your paper structure, right? Now I'm going to take you chapter by chapter and on what to study and what not to study. Uh, Past paper questions for chapter one. Okay. questions will be based on MCQs, as I said before. So you don't have to study a lot in this area, but focus on these ones, right? If you are studying, focus on these ones at the last stages. And I wouldn't say study, I would actually say, go and understand the concept and practice your past paper questions, right? Now, I think you have past papers from 2015 to 2025, I'm right, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, but until 2025 January or June, if I'm right, okay? You have past papers in your double AT website. Uh, Practice all the past paper questions related to chapter one. That is more than enough. You don't have to study again. You study all those past paper. You focus only on the past paper questions. If you have any questions you don't understand, you can always contact me. But all the chapter one questions are repeating. That's why I'm telling you, not to study this area, but rather study smart. Focus only on the past papers and the repeated questions. Once you do one, you will be easily able to identify the next set of questions and answers as well. Okay. Chapter 2, you need to study, you need to memorize this, you need to know the elements of a contract. This you should know from top to bottom. Contract law, you need to understand a lot. If you are not sure on something on contract law, ask someone, either me or anyone who knows about the subject, and get it clarified. Because if you mistakenly identify one element, then your whole answer will not have a proper flow. For example, let's say uh, the question is about invitation to offer, but you write understand the question as an offer, and you write your whole answer based on offer, then your answer is wrong because under the case laws, an invitation to offer and offer are two different things. So how do we identify these things? It's sometimes very difficult. Right? Best way is to read the case laws. Uh, Normally there are a lot of case laws. I would also just advise something that is when you are reading the case laws, try to read the exam questions. Uh, if you can't do past papers right now, at least get the exam paper, the past papers, and read the questions on contract law. First, try to identify, train your mind to identify what are the elements that they have asked a question on in the paper. Because if you can identify which element this paper is on, you will not spend a lot of time guessing what it should be. Your mind will be trained to quickly identify. Okay, this is about I remember a question from 2022 like this. This was a question in similar question came in 2023, and the answer was about offer. So you will be quickly able to identify. And normally contract law, the majority of the questions are not all the questions. Majority of the questions are either based on invitation to offer, and acceptance. So they play around with these three elements, right? Here and there, of course, there's intention and genuineness of consent, but majority of the questions are heavily based on acceptance, offer, or invitation to offer, right? So it's just a matter of time. If you really see the past papers and the question, before doing the past paper questions, try to read the questions. See for yourself. Okay, get 10 years worth of past papers. You have it online. Read a question and see. Sometimes this has happened to some of my students. That is, you mix up contract law and sale of goods ordinance. That is chapter 3. Okay, so you shouldn't do that mistake in the exam. No. So right now it's okay to you put your ego away right now. If you make a mistake, it's fine. You still have time to correct it. So don't be scared to test your knowledge. If you think you have studied contract law, take a past paper. See whether you can first of all identify the question under contract law. You can find the question related to contract law. Then see whether you can identify which element that question is talking about. Sometimes there can be multiple elements, right? So you need to test yourself and see. You don't have to write straight away. You can take a paper and see whether you have the knowledge. Test yourself and see. Once you are confident, now I know this question is about offer, this question is about acceptance, then it's time to start writing. Then it's time to actually start practicing. Okay, that is where I will come in, where I will tell you a method of writing answers. I will teach you today itself. But it's like this, I can only teach you, right? I can teach you to a certain extent. and I will believe that you all have understood it. If you all really want to improve, you can always send me your answers, right? I will always correct it and give you. I am in those groups as well, the AAT vLearning groups as well. So get my number. You can send me your written question answers, right, over WhatsApp. Right? I will always check and I will always respond and I will always tell you where to correct, what to correct, and whether your answer is in the right track or whether there's anything to improve, right? So that is your that burden I give to you. Okay, that aspect is for yours to completely do. It's very optional. But if you are willing to learn, I'm willing to definitely take you all the way there. Right. Okay, so that's about contract law. If you have any questions on contract law, you can ask me. If you have any doubts, if you have any issues to be clarified, don't hesitate, just drop a message, right? Completely fine. Okay. Right. Sale of goods ordinance, students, you need to focus your study on these sections definitely. Sections 13, 14, 15, and 16. There are subsections as well. Section 14 doesn't have a subsection, but in some textbooks and I think in some textbooks they have identified as 14.1 and 14.2 or 14A, 14B. There's no such subsections, but you can break down the uh, whole section into two things, right? So be careful about that. Section 15 you have subsections, section 13 you have subsections, and section 16. These are called implied conditions and warranties. 13, 14, 15, and 16 are called implied conditions and warranties, right? Now, most of the time they are testing you on section 13 and 14. And in the recent times, that is last 2022, 3, 4, those years, I remember having questions on section 15 as well. So when you're studying, you need to understand knowing the section number itself is not enough. You need to write the law as well. Okay, so section number and the law both are important. Okay, so uh, set aside some time and definitely focus on sections 13, 14, 15, and 16. Those are the implied conditions and warranty. That will be your bulk area. That is where you need to for sale of goods ordinance. That's uh, the most number of tested areas have come from, right? These sections. Thereafter, you have section 19.1. Uh, I wouldn't say 19.1, it's just that section 19.1 and the exceptions to section 19.1. So exception 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how it goes, even though I put 19.2, 19.3, 19.4 or 19.5. I just put this for your reference. Okay, there's no subsection actually. It's actually section 19.1 and the uh, exemptions for section 19.1, which is in this exemption rule number or rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3, rule number 4. That's how it goes, right? Uh, so when you're studying that, you study section 19 subsection 1 properly. Oh, okay, or section 19 subsection 5 or the rule number 5, right? Because those might be important for you as well. Okay. Here, remember for sale of goods orders, you need to memorize the sections and case laws, right? And you need to identify the past paper question and also practice writing the answers. Here, you don't have to write a lot. You have to identify the section and the application, right? That's where I will, I'll teach you today. Don't worry about that, right? Okay. About writing an answer. But yes, these things you need to focus on for this chapter. Law of agency focus on the creation, rights and duties, and the termination of an agency. Apart from that, you need to understand the concept of agency. Try to use your own words as much as possible because you will get a question from section B. Even if you get a question from section C, it might be a problem question, but even if it's a problem question, it will be based on these things, right? uh, the creation, rights and duties, and the term. These are the things to focus on this chapter, right? These are very easy chapter, but most questions are from creation. If you can't identify what kind of agency, for example, is it an agent by necessity? Is it an agent by implied condition? Is it uh, is it an agency that is created? Let's say. by expression, right? By writing. So you have to understand which is what. Okay. Yeah. There are other forms of creating an agency as well. Company and partnerships, these, even though this comes under one chapter, it is in the one same chapter, but it's two different areas. One is company law and the other is partnership. So for company law, focus on these areas. Okay. I have given some of these areas in this module as well. For example, the duties of the directors and the qualifications I provided for you. So focus on these ones. Okay. In this duties and qualifications to be a director is a must. Okay. You need to know this. And dissolution of a company, definitely. Okay, so these three. These three you need to know definitely. And partnership, focus on the rights, these three. Okay, rights and responsibilities, duties and termination. You will find mostly these are straightforward answers. You don't have to write a lot, but you have to understand the concept. There will be some case laws. Uh, Focus on the sections if you can. At least write the law part. Okay, at least write how it is a duty of a partner. Mostly there will be a case law attached to the section B as well. A small case law, it's not a big one. Right. Negotiable instruments focus on the checks aspect, processing, how to refuse payment. Okay. Uh, Characteristics of a holding due course. Right. Differences between these of exchange checks and promissory notes. Whether there's a possibility for banks to limit their liability. Right. So these are some things which you need to focus on. Why? Because you will get probably 5 to 7 marks, not a very big question. You are most likely to get a question from negotiable instruments based on a small area, right? So if that is the case, you need to understand what kind of question they will ask. Uh, so mostly it's a very direct question. You don't have to worry too much about it. If you have time within the last few weeks, you can focus on negotiable instrument. Okay, right. Then labor law in the recent times they have tested, so you need to know a labor law, for example, how to calculate gratuity, EPF, ETF, to whom it is applicable, to whom it is not applicable. Maybe the Termination of Employment Act, to whom is it applicable? Shop and Office Act, what are the benefits? How much of a leave does it offer? To whom does this apply? Maternity benefits, how much do we have for the first child, for the second child, working hours, how much is the rate of pay, right? In general, you need to go through. If you can't find them, you can always get it from, my presentation from the JMC vLearning team. Okay, right. Labor law is not a difficult area, but there's a lot to study. Always make use of the keywords, right? The keywords are maybe it's the Shop and Office Act. Focus on that act. If it's about EPF, it's about EPF, right? Right. Insurance is a definite area. Uh, One thing definitely read the case laws because the question is always similar to a case fact. Always remember this. For insurance, your case, they will give a case small scenario. That scenario is based on case law. It's not word to word same, but it'll always be similar to a case study. So if you have studied the case laws for insurance, you will know the answer immediately. Why? Because, for example, principles of insurance, one of the principles are utmost good faith. There are several set of case laws for this. Okay, indemnity, a different case law. Insurable interest. Now, for example, insurable interest, there are some case laws that says only the spouse, that is, husband, can insure his wife, and the wife can insure her husband. But siblings can't insure against each other. So who says it? The case laws. So if you have read the case laws and the scenario asks you, for example, Stefania wants to, uh, uh, take insurance for her sister, sorry, for his sister, for her brother, John. Is this possible? Now, under insurable interest concept, under the case laws, you have realized no, siblings don't have insurable interest, which means you know the answer itself. In your paper, you know the answer itself. Because the case law said so, the same thing can be applied here as well. Okay. So remember the principles of insurance and all their case laws. that is your golden ticket to writing or identifying or actually getting full marks for insurance if there is a question, right? But the problem is uh, insurance, if there is a question, you might not get a question from hire purchase and leasing. Sometimes they might give a question from all three, that is broken down, right? Question number, let's say question number six, A is insurance, B is hire purchase, something like that. So for hire purchase and leasing, only know the rights and obligations or the benefits and yeah, rights and obligations of both parties, okay, owner and the hirer. And for leasing, the benefits of leasing to the lessor and the lessee. Chapter 9, maybe not, don't study now itself, keep time, study when the exam is closer. This is a easy area, focus on these two, duties of FOB seller and duties of CIF seller and buyer. You might get MCQs as well from this area. Okay, so these are the two most important areas, not the important area. In this chapter, these are the two important areas to focus on. And how no, focus on this as well. Okay, bill of lading and its importance. Some questions are tested on that. Right. Chapter 10 students, they have tested this long time back for a I mean, they tested this consecutively for a long period of time. But in the recent years, I didn't see any question from chapter 10. But that doesn't mean they will not test you again. Normally, there has been a question since up until 23. From 2016 onwards, you can see there has always been a question from chapter 10. So if there has always been a question, it is best that you focus on this area as well. What to focus on? These are the acts. Okay. There can be several other acts also based on the past paper, but these are the most repeated acts. Okay. Uh, my recommendation to chapter 10 is rather than studying, get the past paper from 2016, write down the answers based on the marking scheme. In AAT in your website, there's a marking scheme. Based on that marking scheme and the question, you write down the answers first. Don't study, just write down the answers for all the questions from 2016. Get the paper. What is the question related to chapter 10? 2017, January and July. What are the questions relating to business environment? That is chapter 10. And you write down those answers again and again. That itself will be your note. That is more than enough. If you can do that, you will simply realize, right, that same act is repeated again, and by the time you go for 2022, 2023 papers, you have already studied also. How have you studied? Because you already know, maybe, for example, the duties of the Consumer Affairs Authority, repeated many times, right? Certain intellectual property act, under that, what is copyright? What are the patents, right? It would have been repeated. The question is being repeated again and again. If they ask about Computer Crimes Act, the same question is repeated. So it is best if you can focus the past papers from 2016 to up until now as a way of studying. Rather than just studying this whole chapter, you take the paper, do it smartly. If you can't study for whole 10 years, at least take for the last 5 years, right? Even then you will realize some acts are repeated, and the acts that are repeated also have the same questions, which makes it easier for you, right? Okay, so those are your the 10 chapters that your syllabus is going to be tested on. If you have any questions so far, ask me. Don't hesitate. But let's go to how to write an answer. Right? Okay. So this is called ILAC. Uh, you can use this to answer problem questions, but I would say you can use it for other aspects as well. What do you mean by ILAC? I stands for introduction, L stands for law, A stands for application, and C stands for conclusion. Right? So based on this, when you get a problem question, always ask yourself, have I written the introduction? Then have I written the law? Have I written the application? Have I written the conclusion? So based on these things, if you write, you will ensure that you are not going to miss out on anything. This will make it easier for you to focus on the most relevant or the most accurate way of writing this. Okay. Right. Let's see. Introduction. Okay. Now, when we say introduction, it can either be a definition or it can also mean a small area, okay, small introductory part where you write about something related to the question. Uh, see this example. If it's a question about contract law, you can write a contract is a legally binding agreement between two or more people. A contract of sale of goods is a contract whereby the seller agrees to transfer the property of the goods to the buyer for a money consideration called the price. Okay, so something like that. A small introduction. Don't spend too much time on introductions. Okay, uh, it's, remember introductions are not mandatory. I am giving this for those who are unable to start. So if you find it difficult to start, this would be a good way to start your answer with a small introduction that will get you going. Okay, right. Then you can write the law. Now, how are you going to write the law? There are three ways. First is you write the section number that it says is the law. For example, as per section 14 of Sale of Goods Ordinance, goods sold by description shall match with the description. Okay, so that is the law. Simple as that. If you don't have a section, write the case law. As per Adams versus Lindsay, if the parties have agreed expressly or impliedly to communicate the acceptance of an offer by post, then the moment the letter of acceptance was posted, acceptance is deemed to have been completed. So this is the law. And as per this case law. Another way of writing the law is you generally tell what you know. As per the FOB agreement under international trade law, the moment the goods are loaded into the ship, the ownership is transferred from the seller to the buyer. So this is also an FOB agreement. That is the law. Thereafter, you apply that law. What do you mean by apply? You write or you explain the law based on the scenario given in the question. Okay. So you have to see whether the law and the given scenario match. If these things are matching, if the law and the given scenario in the paper are matching, it's equal. Okay, then you can say that. You can say, for example, now if you have written this part, you can say, let's say this is as per the FOB agreement under international trade law, the moment the goods are loaded into the ship, ownership is transferred from the seller to the buyer. And you can say, according to the agreement, if agreement between John and Simon, John loaded the goods into the ship and they had FOB agreement. Therefore, the ownership is already transferred from John to Simon. Right? So you make sure you write the application, or rather you write the story, the scenario based on the law. That is application. See, I have given an example. In applying the above discussed law to the given scenario, when Mr. A posted the letter on 12 February, and even if it was delayed due to a strike, Mr. A legally accepted the offer of Mr. B because of the postal rule established by law. This is a postal rule. This is application. And finally, you can write a conclusion. Right? You can answer the question specifically. You can, for example, say if the question is asking whether there's a valid contract between Mr. A and B, then say yes. In conclusion, as per the above base discussion and application, it can be agreed that there is a valid contract between Mr. A and Mr. B. Therefore, ABC company can claim damages. You write the answer directly. Whatever the question is asking, whether they can claim damages, whether they can ask for, whether there's a contract between the two, whether they can share the profit, you answer it in the affirmative or the negative based on the scenario. That will be your conclusion. Okay. Right. Let's see a sample question. Mr. B offered Mr. A his car for 8 million. Mr. B informed Mr. A to send his acceptance letter by post. He posted the letter of acceptance on 12th February. However, due to a strike in the postal department, the letter was delivered to Mr. B on 20th February. Mr. B, thinking that Mr. A has no interest in the offer because he had not received any letter of acceptance, sells it to Mr. C on 15th February. Mr. A says there is a valid agreement, but Mr. B denies it. Discuss whether there is a valid agreement between the two parties. Now, this question is about contract law. So you have to first identify that. You can start with small definition. The contract is a legally binding agreement between two or more parties that is enforceable by law. Okay, actually, even my even my sample answers introduction is too long. You can even stop from here. Okay, that is also fine. Right. The relevant element in question is the given scenario. In the given scenario is acceptance. So I identify what element. Then I describe what is acceptance. Acceptance means the unconditional agreement to an offer. For acceptance to be valid, it must be communicated. And it must be communicated officially. And silence doesn't amount to acceptance. So these are the elements of acceptance. And see, now I'm going to apply this. Okay. Let's see the law. Sorry, let's see the law first. Now this is the introduction part, not the introduction. Now what is the law? Let's see what is the law. When communicating acceptance, if the parties have agreed expressly or impliedly that it must be communicated by post, then the postal rule shall apply. According to Adams versus Lindsay, uh, here some say Linsell also. Okay, both case laws are correct. Same case law, different spellings, right? Adams versus Lindsay, if the parties have agreed expressly or impliedly to communicate the acceptance of an offer by post, then the moment the letter of acceptance was posted, acceptance is deemed to have been completed. So this was held in this case. This law was identified from this case law. Now let's apply this and see. Now you know when did Mr. A offer this for 8 million, and Mr. B informed, right? So sorry, Mr. B informed Mr. A, look, say if you want to accept my offer of 8 million, send it by post. Now Mr. A posted on 12th of February, but what happened? It did not reach Mr. B in time. When Mr. A posted, but did not reach Mr. B in time. It was delivered to Mr. B on 20th February. But between that time, between 12th and 20th, Mr. B was of the opinion, okay, maybe Mr. A doesn't want the offer. He doesn't want my car. Okay. So I will, he had received a letter of acceptance, thinking that he sells it to Mr. C. Okay, on 15th February. But thereafter, on the 20th of February, Mr. B gets the letter. Now the question is asking whether they have valid contract, Mr. A and Mr. B. So on the Adams or Lindsay, yes, they have. Due to what? Due to postal rule. Postal rule says the moment you put the letter into the letter box, acceptance is made. It doesn't have to go to the receiver. The moment you put the letter box is enough. That is acceptance. See this, okay? In applying the above law to the given scenario, it can be seen that Mr. A and Mr. B expressly agreed to communicate the acceptance by post. Therefore, the postal rule is applicable. So, when Mr. A posted the letter on the 12th of February, on that day itself, he accepted the offer of Mr. B, even though the letter was received by Mr. B on 20th February. Okay, see, got the difference now? Now let's try the conclusion. In conclusion, due to the application of the above discussed postal rule in acceptance, there is a valid contract between Mr. A and Mr. B. Therefore, the contract between Mr. B and Mr. C is null and void as Mr. A accepted before Mr. C. Why? Mr. A accepted on 12th February. Mr. C accepted on 15th. So once an offer is made, unless you take it back, the offer is valid. Whoever accepts it first gets the gets the acceptance. So there's a question. So if you write the law, it's not mandatory to write a case. No, you will get marks. It's like this. Your answer will be more valid if you write a case law. I know it's hard to memorize case laws. There are ways to memorize case laws. Okay. Um, uh, this is not, I don't have enough time to teach you how to memorize case laws. But what I can tell you is like this: my advice is first write the case laws. Let's say you can't remember the case law, then at least write the law in that case law, whatever the law in the head. Okay. whatever the, whatever you remembered in that, you write. But if you write the law, it's not mandatory to write. There's no such thing like mandatory to write case laws, but your marking scheme has case laws. In that case, if you don't write the case law, but you write the proper law, if you get the proper law, that is fine. At least you write the proper law. But for you to understand what amounts to the proper law, you have to understand that studying the case laws is important. At least identifying the story in the case law. That would be best. Okay, right. All right. So see the conclusion in this. That's a good question, right? In conclusion, due to the application of the above discussed postal rule in acceptance, there is a valid contract between Mr. A and Mr. B. Therefore, the contract between Mr. B and Mr. C is null and void because A accepted before Mr. C. So that's the conclusion which you can, give to give in this question, right? Okay. So that's how you write an answer. You can use this sample. It's not mandatory, okay? This is just my way of writing an answer, and it has worked for a lot of students. So I thought of sharing it with you all as well. Okay, so that is one way to write an answer. If you have any other way, you can follow that as well. But this is a sure way of ensuring that you follow everything. Law is there, application is there, conclusion is there, right? All right. Apart from that, students, now just to share with you all what is included in study guide. Okay, here see in chapter one, you can focus on these are some recent amendments. Uh, I think even for district court now it's a bit different. No, no, not only for section C students, right? You can apply this to section B also, no problem. I would say to apply to section B, use it, no problem, right? This is not from double AT or anything. This is what I have made for students so that it's easy for them to focus. So then when you are in the exam, you can calm yourself. Have I written an introduction? Have I written the law? Have I written application? Have I written the conclusion? ILAC. Okay, ILAC method. Then you will remember. You won't forget anything. And you will go in order. Your answer will be very methodical. Right? Your answer will follow a logical pattern of reasoning. It will seem logical. Why? You are providing an introduction, you are providing the law, and then you are discussing how that law is applicable to the given scenario. And then based on that only you are going to give a conclusion. See, very logical there. So then you are more likely to, it's more likely for you to score more marks also. And you can organize your writing also. It saves you time. That's why. Okay, students, here just to update you all, you can find all the important case laws for contract law here. For offer, these are some of the case laws. And can you see I have given the case law in a very short form? This is the law. This itself is the law. Right? You don't have to write the stories about case laws. You can write, for example, in Hyde versus French, it was held original offer can be revoked by a counter offer. That is enough. That itself is the law. So I have summarized to you what the law is. In simple words, I have summarized what the law is. Okay. So how you use this is up to you. But all what you need is here. All the important case laws on acceptance. Right? Adams rule himself. Postal rule applies when sending acceptance through mail. The date of posting is the date of acceptance. As held in Feldhaus versus Bingley, silence doesn't amount to acceptance. Capacity to contract, illegality. So for all the elements of a contract, I have provided here. Then sale of goods ordinance. See, section 13A, the seller must have the right to sell the goods. That is the law. That is what is in the section also. And what is the relevant case law for section 13? Roland versus Duval. You write in this name is also enough. Okay. At least in brackets, you can write this. Section 14, where there is a sale of goods by description and the goods sold must correspond with the description. And section 14 again, same, there's no subsection. And goods sold by description as well as by sample shall match. Correspond means match, okay? Match with both description and sample. right? 15.1, 15.2, then transfer of ownership, case laws for section 19, rule number 5. Law of agency, agency by necessity, what are the supporting case laws? Agency by agreement, what are the supporting case laws? Agency by estoppel, what are the supporting case laws? Right? Agency by
Yeah, okay. I had a question. Hold on. Easy technique to memorize. It's like this. I can't entirely say there are techniques we can use. There are techniques, okay? There are techniques to mm, help you memorize. That's true. But the thing is like this, okay? Uh, some things are there. Some case laws you can. I'll tell you some hints. That's easy, you know. I'll tell you some hints, right? Because I can't always, it depends on the child's memory and capacity. I mean, there are other ways to memorize, but I'll tell you some hints. Uh, First hint, okay? The first one, the first easiest way to memorize case laws, as you have time, because your exams on the next month. But this might seem a little bit complicated. That is, you change your mobile, your friends' names. You, for example, you use WhatsApp every day. I mean, all of us use WhatsApp, right? So in the contact list, and let's say there are some important case laws you can't remember, or for example, Brook versus Hook or something like this you want to remember. You change the name of your friend to this, okay? But make sure you put it in brackets, huh? Otherwise you will forget who's who. So you put it in brackets, your friend's real name, okay, and you write this name in front of it. So that way, in the exam, you have to remember your friend only. When you remember your friend, it's called a memory hook actually. Okay, memory hooks. You remember your friend, the brain will help you to remember this case law because you have associated a name. You associated a name to your friend. You when you remember your friend, that name also comes up. Or when you remember that name, your friend also comes up. For example, now your friends have nicknames, right? I believe some of your friends or you have heard other people having nicknames. So in the road, if you hear that nickname, maybe someone is calling for some other person, but you hear that nickname, you immediately remember your friend who is associated with that nickname, isn't it? So that is one way you can memorize case laws. That is, you attach it to someone you know. Okay. So it's an effort. You can think about it. It's an effort. You need to do that, but you see it every day because you're using WhatsApp and everything every day. So that's a free way of studying. Another way is actually to write it again and again. That is, you write the same, for example, Freeman versus Park Properties. That name you write in, you take a piece of paper, you write it down 20 times. So then your hand-eye coordination improves. Your hand-eye, when your hand and your hand and the brain is working together, and you writing it again and again, it's like an art. So the brain memorizes that pattern. So then that name also will stay in your head because you're not only when you're writing, you're doing double work. That is, you're writing also, you're reading also. You're writing and reading, you're writing and reading. So that is second way. So you practice writing the same thing again and again, the same name. First way is you associate the case law with a friend or your parents or whatever, I don't know, to whoever it is. Okay. So those are the easiest way you can improve memorization in the short term, in the short period of time. There is another way which I have been using, that is, I can't teach that to you all right now because it will confuse a lot of you all. But I can give you the name of that technique. It's called the LOCI technique. Some call it Loki, LOCI anyway. The LOCI technique, or LOCI. It's a generally known technique used by these memory champions. That is where you use your imagination, okay, and you make a memory path. Okay, you make a path, or we call it memory castle also. But that will take time, and I can't tell. how I have to be there for y'all, okay, to teach it. I guess I can't just roll it out in here, okay. So maybe if you have time, you can contact me. I can help you out on on developing that, because I need to hear your side of the story and whether you are doing it right or wrong. But my first two methods are very practical. It's very funny, but it's very practical also. You change the phone numbers of your friends to case law names, or you write it again and again, right? Apart from that, you can have some memory boards, right, where you see these names every day. You write it in big letters and keep in a place where you see it every day. Right? If you have the time to make that effort, go for it. So if you don't have the time, for those people only, I told you that change in the name of your friend, because if you're busy, if you're always in the phone, right, change the name of the friend to the case law. Okay. But make sure you put your name's friend in bracket. Okay, your friend's name in the brackets or something. Otherwise, you will forget his real name also. I don't know, right? Unless you're a true friend. Yeah. Okay. Um, okay, sure. Then company law and partnership. I These are some of the sections that I have provided. Okay, and duties of directors I have given with the section and the summarized version. Okay, in the interest of the company, these are the duties, you need to know these. And the disqualifications to be a director. So for example, if you are below 18, you can't be a director. Now imagine you get a question and they are asking, let's say Peter. Peter is 16 years of age and he wants to be the director of his father's company. And you have to answer whether he can be or not. Where do you find the law? For example, you can write in the introduction, you can write this question is related to the qualifications and disqualifications to be a director. As per section 202 of the Companies Act. These are under the Companies Act, okay? I have provided here, okay? Under the Companies Act, section 202, it provides for the disqualifications to be a director. As per that section 202, a person who is under 18 years of age cannot be a director. As this is the law, in applying this law to the given scenario, Simon also cannot be a director in his father's company because he is still 16 years of age. See, simple as that. So if you know the law, writing the application is not a big deal. Okay. Partnership, I have provided the duties of the partners also. Uh, with section, with case laws as well. Right? With case laws as well. Lifting the corporate risk. So there is a good question as we are in this one. I'll tell you some things, okay? There are some things where, so this student okay, fraudulent activities. To lift the corporate whale, students, I hope others know what do you mean by the corporate whale, okay? Corporate whale means the corporate entity used by companies to hide the owners. The real owners are hidden behind the company, no? Okay? So, sometimes the court can lift the corporate whale. That means we can see who we will punish those who are behind the company and not the company. Okay. So one is fraudulent activities. That is true. If there are fraudulent activities, okay, you can lift the corporate whale. If there is terrorism involved, then also you can lift the corporate whale. I wouldn't say terrorism. I'll write the better word. That is threat to national security. Okay. Uh, then threat to national health. For example, some pharmaceutical companies testing out a drug, but then that drug can be they are using some sort of a virus to test that drug. So there's a possibility that if the virus gets out, it might affect all of us, right? So then the the owners can't say, look here, we are the owners only, but not the managers. You punish those who are controlling the company, punish the directors and not us. Okay, don't take. I mean, you can't associate. We the owners, the shareholders, and the company separate. So you can't do anything to us. You can say like that, but the court can lift the corporate veil and say no, this is a threat to national health. So therefore, you can't do these activities, right? They can lift the corporate veil and see who are the real owners, right? These are some of the things. Okay, fraudulent activities, threat to national security, threat to national health. Sometimes impacting the corporate, the culture of a country. Okay, those are also some of the other reasons to lift the corporate veil. Okay. Apart from that, we can also there is one thing, student, that is I'll write it like this. Okay, breach of regulations. Breach of regulations. That is, there are some regulations in certain countries like America and all, comparative laws. So if you are breaching those comparative laws, if you are going to become a monopoly, you are going to merge with another company, then there you will have to lift the corporate well. Right? Is that clear? What are the fraudulent activities? For example, cheating the creditors, you are lending money, or you are taking money and you are going to pay it back, things like that. Okay. So these are the reasons to lift the corporate way. Okay. Right. Any other questions, students? So these are some of the areas. Apart from that, earlier I was discussing about partnerships, negotiable instruments, labor law, I have given you. Insurance, I have given you what are the case laws to study and what not to study. See, utmost good faith, Luca versus law union, failure to disclose a material fact with intention leads to breach of utmost good faith. Right? I have given these four case laws are important. Huh? Under insurance, you need to know these four case laws definitely. Without that, you can write the answer also. That is why one of the scenarios will be based on one of the case laws. If the question is from insurance, and in insurance, if the question is based on utmost good faith, it will be based on one of these case laws. That's what I'm saying. Okay. If it is based on indemnity, it will be based on this case law. If it is based on insurable interest, again based on one of these case laws. Okay. I have given who has insurable interest, who doesn't have insurable interest, and the procedure for letter of credit under international trade law, and what are the most commonly recurring acts under the offense related to business environment. I have told you how to study this. Okay, chapter 10, I told you do the past papers, focus from 2016 onwards. And even chapter 1, I told you chapter 1, after doing all of these, you study chapter 1. When you have time, do the MCQs for chapter 1 and that will be enough. And you can easily get through this. Patented, yeah, good question. Some things cannot be patented. For example, now let's say there is a surgery or a medicine that they have identified that can, cure incurable disease. Some things like that cannot be patented. I can show you what can be and what cannot be patented. But I'll have to take the act, right? If you take section. It's like this. Rather than telling you what cannot be patented, I tell you like this. To be patented, it should be a novel industrial design, an industrially relevant novel design. That means whatever your product, okay, whatever your product is, it shouldn't have existed before. It should be completely new. So if it is not completely new, then that cannot be patented. I'll tell you like that. That would be the better answer. Now I'll ask you a question. let's say one of you created a light bulb. Let's say you made a light bulb, okay, out of some different material. Is it a new product? It's not a new product. Light bulb is all we have. We have the light bulbs. We have light bulbs, right? But who found the light bulb? Like the very first, connecting electricity to a light bulb and getting light to our whole economy, the world economy. Who brought it up, right? Thomas Alva Edison, isn't it? Thomas Alva Edison was the one who got the patent for the light bulb way back in the history. There were three other people who was in contention for that. There is Thomas Alva Edison and Nikola Tesla. They were trying so hard to introduce the first way of light bulb. Nikola Tesla got the patent for the series bulb. Like you put one switch and multiple lights switch on. So that was patented by Tesla. Okay. So new models, if it's a new model that has not been in the world, then you can patent it. Even now, if there is anything, how do you know whether it's in the world or not? Because when you are going to patent, you have to go to the National Intellectual Property Organization, NIPO, in Colombo, Maradana, National Intellectual Property Organization. They are connected with the World Intellectual Property Organization. Actually, all the countries are connected with the World Intellectual Property Organization. Each country has an intellectual property organization. And they will check whether your product is what? A novel product. Novel means completely new. That is not in existence. So if it is not in existence, you can pay. Now, nowadays, I would say most would be these pharmaceutical products like the drug, not the drug, not the medicine, but what is used to create the medicine. I don't know the pharmaceutical, the scientific names for those stuff. Okay, I'm sorry about that. But those are some things that are patented. Uh, there's one thing that can be patented again. What do you call these cosmetic items? Even they are pharmaceutical items, cosmetic items. For example, let's say you found out a way to regrow the hair of males and females. Okay, within 5 days, even the grandfather can grow his hair back, right? So imagine you found a cosmetic item, you found an ingredient. I don't know. Right? You have a product. I would say your ingredient is safe. Your ingredient no one can copy. Okay, but the product is yours. So you have identified that no. That can be patented now because it is there can be cosmetic items, but such a cosmetic item has not been there before. That is right. So there are design patents, there are process patent. That means you product is there, but you are patenting the manner in which creating the product. Okay, the how to make the product, that part no one has patented. You can patent that also. So the process of creating a product can be patented. The final product can be patented, right? It depends. Okay, it depends from country to country also a little bit, but and the product also, yes, but somehow it should be novel product and a patent. Why is there a high standard? Because once patented, no one can copy it for the next 20 years in Sri Lanka, that is. Okay, so that's a good monopoly for you, right? Okay, any other questions, students? Right, if you have no questions, okay, and if you find it difficult to start studying, at least do this syllabus revision. Okay, I have given some of the questions on here. You do this syllabus revision and you can send it to me. Only then I will tell you whether it's what is right and what is wrong. Because I want to see how you write. Okay. There's a section A. Then there is section B here. 40 marks I have allocated. If you do this will cover your whole syllabus. If you can do this paper, the last at the very last, okay, of this study guide, there's a syllabus revision. If you can do this, it will cover the syllabus. So if you can't start studying, at least start doing. Okay. And one piece of advice before we wrap up the session, rather than thinking about doing something, it is better to start doing it anyway, because half of your time is wasted by thinking about studying. I will study this like this, like this. You are spending 4 hours about thinking about studying and only 1 hour actually studying. Okay. I would say change it the other way around. You study for half an hour. Tell your brain that I will only study for half an hour. If you can't even tell that, you tell your brain, okay, I will only study for 1 minute. You start till you somewhere you start. Doesn't matter. There doesn't have to be an order. You start and the brain will follow. Your brain will may automatically start studying. It is difficult to start rather than to continue. Okay. So you start first. So that is your discipline. That is your courage, your discipline. Uh, don't wait until the last moment because that is the pressure getting to you and you will be overheated. It will be too much to focus on, which is not healthy also. But if you can study 5 minutes, 10 minutes even now, business law, certain past paper questions, certain case laws, it will be easy for you at the end. Because I know you have 2 exams on the same day. You have the accounting exam also on whatever the date that I have my law paper. And law paper is mostly on the afternoon. So why don't you take away the burden of law? Why don't you, study something, right? Study something. At least do this syllabus revision. Try doing this. If you don't know the answer, look for the answer. Go for it. Check for it. Okay. So if you put that effort will multiply. Don't worry. It will come to you. Okay. So study for half an hour. Take a break for 10 minutes. Not a mobile phone break. Mobile phone breaks will take away all what you studied. You know that. I mean, everyone knows that scientifically it's proved that if you are going to use your mobile phone after studying, it's highly ineffective because your brain will wash up whatever you studied, and whatever you are looking next will be more interesting in YouTube or Instagram or whatever, and that will be far more dopamines are released from that, and you will not have the energy and motivation to study the next hour. So that is in vain. You're losing to yourself. Okay. So if you have the discipline, you can try keeping the phone away. Uh, for how many? For 2 hours, you can keep it away. If you can't keep it away for 2 hours, you're addicted technically. Even if you can't keep it for 10 minutes, you're addicted only. Right? What to do? Unfortunately, that's the truth. But if you can study for half an hour, in that half an hour, put your highest effort and focus. Thereafter, take a small break, 5 minute break, 10-minute break maximum. Go out, play, and come. If you can't no one to play, trouble your parents and siblings and do something and then come back, sit down, study for another half an hour. Take another 10-minute break. Study for another half an hour. Take another 10 minutes break. Study for another half an hour. Okay, so you would have studied for, let's say, 3 half an hours is 1.5 hours. 4 half an hours are 2 hours. But with a half an hour break, by 10 minutes, it will add up to half an hour break. But you have studied 2 hours also. And those 2 hours you studied are very efficient and very productive. Why? Your brain has been recharged within those 5-10 minutes. It will take 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes for your brain to recharge. So give it time. You study something, let it sink in. Give it some time to understand what you studied. Right? Doesn't matter whether you forget it later. That is not the question. You put in the effort is what matters. You put the effort, then you realize why are you forgetting. You'll realize what you are doing wrong. It will be irritating, but that's the whole process of studying. Right? That's the whole process of studying. If you don't do nothing, it will only be nothing will come. You study for the highest grade. You study for 100 marks. Whether you get it or not the problem. No. You are not marking the paper. No, someone else is marking the paper. WT examiners are marking the paper. Okay, so results are not in your hands. So don't worry about the results, but you do the work. You do the work. You put the effort to get 100 marks. Okay. Don't expect to get 100 marks or not to expect 100 marks. You put the effort. You be happy with the effort you put. If you're happy with the effort you put in, whatever the result come, let it come. You have no control anyway. You don't get to recorrect your paper. I mean, got the point, right? There's no way to check whether what went wrong, whether the marks were actually added properly. You don't get to. So there's no purpose in worrying about results. Rather than putting the energy to worry about your results, you put that effort into something you can control. What can you control? The how you study and what you study. How to study, I have told you in this guide. And what to study also I have told you in this guide. Okay? If you still have issues, you can contact me over the phone or WhatsApp. right? Yeah, WhatsApp, and drop me a message, and I will still, I will guide you. Don't worry, I'll be with you. All right. Any other questions, students? I don't want to waste a lot of your time. Right? Let me know. This guide, I think this guide was sent to the groups. Uh, I thought it was sent received by you all. There are groups called, I don't know, there are so many groups. I'm not sure which one I think I'm in all of them. I saw, let me check. Yeah, this has been sent, no? Isn't it? No, not yet. You will have to ask the JMC vLearning team. Okay, I think they may have sent to the students that are in the vLearning category. Okay, I think I'm not sure, but it was sent. It was sent. I think AAT to vLearning January team. You can get the paper from the vLearning team. I think you will have to when you, I don't know, maybe you have to purchase the you have to be in the group. I don't know how you can be in the group, but drop to one of the JMC admins. I think they will guide you. Okay, you can drop a message to JMC admin. You can see that admin is here. Drop a message to that particular person, and they will guide you on how to get the revision model paper. Okay, but I have sent it to you. Right? You can get this thing somehow because this is easy for you. Right? This will guide you a lot. It has guided a lot of students. Okay, you will find it very useful. All right. Any other questions, students? All good, no? All perfect. Okay. All right. I'll stay for another 2 to 3 minutes. Let's see. Admin says that the paper has been shared, students. Okay, you can check it. Okay, I'll check for another 1 to 2 minutes. If there are any other potential questions, even if not, I'll wrap up the session. Yeah, so your feedback, comment on that as well, students. And yeah, let me know if you need any other help, any other explanations or whatever it is. Contact me, let me know. Clarify your doubts before the exam. That's all I ask from you. You all can get through this exam. Okay, if you actually put in the effort the way I tell you to, you can get through the exam. Don't worry, just get through it, move on, right? Move on with your life. Okay, and go to your dreams and your whatever you are hoping to achieve. I wish you the best of luck, and you all have my blessings, right? All my blessings are with you guys. Okay, so yeah, and yeah, make sure you enjoy a part of your life as well. I'll end the session for today. If you do have any other issues or questions, reach out to me. Feel free. I'll always help you guys. Okay. All right then. Good luck.